Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking project panning, and perhaps you know that I fell off the wagon hard with my 2021 project pan. I just was finding that every time it came to film it, I didn't want to. And it wasn't because I didn't want to use those products. I was using them, but I felt like from month to month, I wasn't making a ton of progress. And then all of a sudden I didn't film it for a couple of months and forgot about it, and then realized that it had been 6 months since I had filmed my last project pan. So going into this year, I realized that I still want to do project panning, but I'm going to treat it very differently. I'm going to treat project panning similar to how I treat my hoarding closet. I'm going to show you a pretty hearty roundup of items that I would like to use up over the course of this entire year. So I've pulled certain things from different seasons, things that I maybe wouldn't ordinarily be pulling for at this time of year, but I wanted to pull them all now and make them my focus ones. And then every 3 months, I will give you updates on them. I feel like that will be more realistic for having me actually want to film them. And I think it will also give me better progress benchmarks to share with you. So hopefully that sounds good to you. Now that we've talked about the projection of how I'm gonna do the project this year, let's go ahead and look at all of the items that I have selected for the project right now to kick off the year. I'm gonna go in order of how I would apply them. So first off, I have 2 lip balms I'd like to use up this year. The first is from Trader Joe's. By some ridiculousness, I still have this. I pulled this out pretty early in 2021 to use at my vanity in the morning when I go to apply my makeup, and it's still kicking around. This is how much I currently have left. It is a very slow moving lip balm. It's not super emollient, and it is very moisturizing, so you do not need very much to apply, which is both a blessing and a curse because it makes it last a really long time, which is good, but if you're trying to use it up quickly, makes it less good. I did put a mark on the cap just so you can see where we're at. I'm really hoping that the 3-month point, this will be used up, which will then allow me to pull in this Laneige Lip Glowy Balm. This basically is the tubed version of their lip sleeping mask. It's a little bit glossier, but it basically is a lip balm. I prefer to use it as a lip balm. Definitely something that I've not made a lot of progress on. It's definitely getting older. So I'd like to get this worked through again for cost purposes and also age purposes. Next 2 items that I have are primers. I have what I'm going to call my winter primer, and then what I will probably use after that point, or as we get closer into the spring, summer months. So the first one that I have is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Moonstone. So this is not technically a primer. It's meant to be like a glow enhancing product. And I was inspired to use this as a primer because last year I had a product like this from Number 7 that worked great as and it worked great as a glowy primer. What I liked about the Number 7 one, and this one is very similar, is that it basically helps my dull looking winter skin look less dull when I apply foundation or BB cream on top of it. I don't have a ton of this to use up, which is also a nice thing, and it's pretty old. I've had it for quite some time. I got it as a little, I think Christmas set a while back, so I'd like to get this used off. I am working on my NYX Marshmallow Primer first, and then I will pull for this. But again, I imagine in 3 months, this will go. And then I also want to use up this year my Beauty Blender The Leveler Pore Minimizing Primer. Love this primer, hate this packaging. It is the worst. I have broken into the top part and been able to push product out, but there's a very real possibility I'm gonna have to finagle cutting into this plastic to scoop it out because it's just awful packaging. I hate it, the bane of my existence. What's inside is lovely for filling my pores. It very much reminds me of Professional, but better, but worse packaging. So definitely want to use this up so I can never buy it again unless they change the packaging. One eye product I want to use up, and that is my base. This is the MAC Paint Pot in Painterly. I really thought when I bought this last year, I would blow right through this. That is not the case at all. I have used this essentially every day I've applied eyeshadow for the last, 10, 11 months. and this is where I am at. I'll be really curious to see how long this lasts. At this point, it's really good price per use for the cost of it, because if I was blowing through it really fast, I would not have been able to afford to keep going with it. I have not found, I know when I first bought this last year, people were like, oh, Maybelline sells their version of this. I have not found this type of color at the drugstore. So again, it doesn't bother me because it's lasted me so long. I'm putting it in the project just to see how long it actually takes, because I thought I was going to use it up last year and I didn't even come close. We're now moving into the biggest facet of choices I picked this year for panning, and that is my complexion products. I have a lot, in my opinion, a lot of foundations for one face, so I want to make a concerted effort to use up certain ones. The first one that I definitely need to use up is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation in the shade 140. I don't have a ton of this left. I wanted to use this up last year, but the seasons turned before I could. This is probably the fullest coverage foundation that I have in my collection, and it's not necessarily the perfect shade match for me. So I do mix it with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation in the shade Fair 05W. This is also not a great color match for me, and it's not one that I can wear in the summer. I don't really love super hydrating products. Together, they are good friends, but that makes them last forever. So as you can see, I'm about here. I'm not so much looking to pan this completely. Like if this gets finished off first and I still have this kicking around, I will let this go, but they're being brought in together because I use them in conjunction to one another. Definitely need to get cracking on this because it is the perfect time of year for me to use it. It's more likely that I'm going to wear a more full coverage product in the winter months, but just a pain to have to constantly mix products. Next one that I have is a recent one that I've been pulling out ever since I finished off my L'Oreal foundation. It is the Belif Beauty Skin Finish Foundation, medium to full coverage. It's what I have on my face right now in the shade Shell. I don't have a lot of this used up, but like I said, it's what I've been pulling towards using at this particular moment. So I wanted to bring it in. There's less than 1 fluid ounce in here. It only has 0.85. So I don't think it will take as long to pan as something else that is typically a 1 full fluid ounce. But like I said, I'm liking it. It's my Monday through Friday one. I'm going to try to use the Fenty one more like on the weekends when I'm less concerned about looking too full coverage in my face and not necessarily looking like myself all the time. But this stuff is great, and it's I think $5 at Dollar General, like pretty inexpensive, and I really do like the shade match for me. It's been really hard to find good shade matches, and this I think is a nice one for my skin. Last foundation that I have is a favorite, but it's very, very pricey. It's the YSL Touche Eclat Radiance Awakening Foundation in the shade BR10 Cool Porcelain. I'm at this point in here. I am bringing this in because I want to give myself permission to use it. I go through phases where I use this stuff a ton and then I cool it because I don't want to have to run out of it and then miss rebuying it. I definitely think that I bought this in a moment of weakness because I couldn't find a really good skin match for me. That's part of why my particular foundation collection boomed, was I kept trying to find like the exact color matches and I kept getting close but not quite there, and I wasn't going to return the items because I technically can mix them to get my good match. So I bought this right before I found the Belif, and then realized that the Belif one does work for me and I was going to return this because I love it so much. I just think this is a beautiful texture. It basically to me has the same effect of a BB cream, but it lasts so much better. It does a beautiful job really covering my whole like complexion, any blemishes that I have, but it still lets my freckles in particular shine through, and it holds up so well. This stuff is just amazing. I hate how expensive it is because I definitely can't use it all the time back to back, but I definitely want to finish it off this year and then try to stick more with the lower cost types of foundation. I have 3 concealers, my 3 go-to concealers that I'd like to use up this year. The one that I'm currently not in rotation with is my Maybelline Instant Age Rewinder in the shade 110 Fair. This essentially is like my spring, summer, early fall concealer. I like it because I don't necessarily need to brighten my under eyes. It's more just help combat like the under eye circles. I am at this point with this one. I'm sure it will go pretty quickly once I start to pull it out. I'm probably not going to have much progress in the next 3 months. The other two that I have are my current go-tos. So the first one is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Vanilla. I currently have this on my face right now. I've actually removed the stopper. So I'm at a point where I've had to remove the stopper. I don't necessarily know, I can't see inside here what I've got going on for product, but I'm definitely still getting sufficient product on the doe foot applicator without having to like move the wand around. I like this for the winter because it does a nice job brightening my under eye area, and it is on the paler side, whereas the Instant Age Rewind is more of like what my natural skin looks like in the summer. So hopefully I can get this finished off this winter. A girlfriend gave this to me because she had bought two for her wedding and ended up only needing to use one of the colors, and figured that my pale skin would like this. I do like it. I don't know if I would buy it with my own dollars, but I would like to get it finished off. And my last concealer is what I use for spot correcting or around like my nose blackhead area for just some extra coverage. I got this last year. It's the Revlon Photo Ready Concealer in the shade Fair 001. This lasted me a really long time. I bought this and put it in a project immediately, thinking that I would blow through it really quickly. I have been able to use this basically every day, and I use it pretty heavily these days, especially when I was dealing with the height of my pregnancy pimples. This was getting used and abused. It's a really good creamy concealer, which I think works well for basically covering up blemishes and then putting your liquid foundation on top of. This is all I have left. I don't know how long that will last me. And I did draw my starting point here for you to see. Definitely one that I will rebuy. I hope they still make this. The one trick I find with any kind of drugstore love is that you're not guaranteed to have it year to year. So hopefully this is an item that did well and people like it so that I can get my hands on it once this is finished off. I have one eyeliner I forgot to mention. It is the last pencil eyeliner that I have in my collection. It is from Sephora. I've had a couple of these to use up before. I do not have very much of this left. It's just a matter of focusing in on it, getting it used up. Definitely something that I can work through really quickly, and it will feel so satisfying finishing off the last of my pencils. I really killed it in 2021, if I do say so myself. I depleted a lot of pencils and didn't prioritize using my preferred liquid felt tip liners instead. And so now I'd love to just cinch it by being done with them all together. I would also find it really satisfying to use up a setting powder. I have been just infatuated with the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. I feel like this is a very like natural, not super intense, not very heavy type of powder. I currently have basically pushed the product to this line with the product facing down. I have really good progress on this. I mean, this is at least a year of steady usage. And I know that if I can finish this off, it will help me be able to use up the like smaller sample ones that I have pretty quickly. I thought about bringing in a small one first, but I just love this so much. I'd rather just use something that I really enjoy and I know that I enjoy versus picking up something that is just smaller simply to have the smaller victory. So we'll see how we get on. I also chose a blush. Bold, I know, because I was working on my Rockateur blush for quite some time, but hear me out. It's a cream blush. I really want to use this super old NYX Boho Chic Cream Blush. I just love the color of this on my cheeks. I actually am somebody who prefers creamier products in the winter months when my skin looks a bit more dull and dried down, and just breathe some nice life into my face. Whereas in the summer, when I'm naturally a bit more sweaty, I don't feel like cream products really hold up to that dewy look most people are looking for when I'm just naturally sweaty and greasy. So I've really got excellent usage on this. It's kind of been my easy go-to blush. I'm at a point right now where I've basically been like breaking off a bit of what's on the outside, pushing it to the like center area like you see here, stippling this until it's all gone, and then breaking off another piece. So I'll be curious to see how I can move through this. I mean, it's definitely old. It doesn't smell. It doesn't have a weird smell. It hasn't broken my skin out at all. So we're on okay terms right now, but I definitely want this to get finished off. It's the only cream that I have in my collection, so I'd love to have the satisfaction of using it up entirely. And then the last items that we have are Flip products that I want to use up. I have two stick products. The first is this Mally Lip Magnifier in the color Golden Star. Don't have much of this left. I basically use this like I would a lip pencil. I basically apply it and then I put a gloss over it. It's a very like easygoing type of shade, meaning I can apply it with basically any eye look I'm doing and then put a gloss over it and it works well. It's really old, it's gotta go. And then once that is finished off, I like to use up the one lip liner that I own, which is the NYX Slide On Glide On Stay and Definitely a Turn On Waterproof Extreme Lip Liner. Very long name. In the shade Nude Suede Shoes, this is what we are working with. It's what I was using before for the same purposes as the Mally one, but just wanted to finish it off as well because I'm just curious how long it would take. But again, this is the priority first. And then I have 3 lip glosses that I would like to finish off. They're basically like my 3 go-tos, and I'm not gonna start to explore the rest of my very large lip gloss collection until they are out of my life. So the first one that I have is basically the one that you guys always see me wearing when I'm filming. It's from Hard Candy. It's their Plumping Serum Volumizing Lip Gloss in the shade Nude Beach 1395. I don't have much of this left at all. I have taken the stopper out and have just been applying this. I apply it in the morning. It's why some of these glosses last so long is I don't carry them with me. So basically they're applied during filming or a first application in the morning and then not again until the next time that comes around. So I think that this will get used off pretty quickly, but who the heck knows? You never know with lip gloss how long it will take. The other 2 that I have don't have marks on them because I really can't tell where I'm at with them. First one is Haus Laboratories. It's the Laureate lip gloss in Venus. This is my favorite. I absolutely love these glosses. They're basically, it's these and the liners. I freaking love the felt liners from the actual line. Everything else I think has just been, hasn't excited me. But this is like a very basic, easy color for me. This is kind of like a go-to. Again, before I came across the Hard Candy, this is all I was wearing to film and it was what I was applying first thing in the morning. It's very just whatever look I'm wearing it can go with. So looking forward to using this up. And then the final thing for the whole project is the Smashbox, oh, teeny tiny font. It's the Smashbox Be Legendary Longwear Lip Lacquer in the shade Flushed, I think. This is just getting old. It doesn't yet smell, so I feel like it's still able to be used, but it's definitely not getting any younger as the years go on. These are some of my oldest glosses that I have, so I would like to get them used up this year. So there you have it, a lot of products, feeling really ambitious. Like I said, with the 3-month benchmark, you may not see progress on certain products at all because they're not seasonal right now, but for the most part, a lot of these are good go-tos that I'm working with. So I'm really hoping that I can make some great progress this year and actually give you updates every 3 months as opposed to abandoning the project about halfway through. I hope you're excited to see my project pan in this way, and I look forward to talking with you in my next video real soon.